The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
Well, we are right now right at the very end of an incredible forum. You know, many people had the opportunity here to speak and share, including yourself, Christian. Christian, tell us, I mean, just seeing the body of close protection agents, or for the American side, the executive protection agents, getting together and just you know, networking. What would you say are the major value pieces that you see that happen in settings like this?
Well, it depends, I guess, on which point you look at. For me, personally, and I've been doing this for a long time, I'm surprised every time I do this how much I get out of it.
Right.
Because I learn new things, I get super motivated, I get validated, and you know, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world to share some of your experiences, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. I see a lot of new people every year, and it's kind of cool because these new people get the opportunity to network, and one of the things I always like about these conferences and symposiums and get-togethers is the helpfulness that people have. People give themselves time to talk to new people and help them in the industry. I mean, I think I have 2 phone calls scheduled next week with brand new people in the industry who need some kind of advice or help or whatever, and why wouldn't I, right? So I think that's probably the greatest takeaways.
Okay, and the thing that I mean, even myself, I took a lot, and I absorbed a lot of your presentation and just how real it got from, you know, taking care of the people, the client base, and all that. We have a thing back in Canada we say within our organizations about people should have a teachable spirit, where we have the ability to kind of pour into you. A lot of times when someone has ego, you can't pour into them because they at that point know it all. What would you tell individuals that are also looking at getting into this industry about the openness to learn? Because there, as you said, even for as much as you have gone through, as much as your business has developed, you're still learning. We're all still learning.
I learn every day, you know, and it's we had an old saying in Europe that the minute that you're an expert, you're kind of an ex of what it is that you do.
Okay.
Right? And I don't consider myself an expert. I know a lot. Some would say I know more than most, but I can find people that know more than me, always, right? And I figured out maybe this little niche of something, but there's so many other things that I don't know about and I can learn from, right? And I think that if you're in a corporation or in a company or whatever, you can choose yourself, and I think we choose ourselves many things in life, right? The whole thing of is the glass empty or is the glass full? Is a very, very true kind of like analogy, and I really like it because people choose themselves if they see problems, or if they see solutions. A quick story, if we have time.
Of course.
One time I walked into one of our control rooms at a client's house because there's been some problems with the guys, and the first thing the 2 guys in there say to me, "We're not washing the client's clothes." And I go, calm down, what do you mean? One of them say, "I'm not going to wash his clothes." And the other guy go, "It's not that big a deal." And I go, "What do you mean it's not a big deal? I don't want you to wash his clothes, not because I don't want you to wash his clothes, but it's kind of like, what if you ruin his fancy suits or whatever?" He goes, "He's not asking us to wash his clothes, I'm just calling a dry cleaner." You see the analogy?
Yes.
The one guy was totally panicking because he was not there to wash clothes.
That's right.
The other guy was like, "I just sent it to a dry cleaner."
It's the way of looking at it.
It's a way of thinking, right?
Yeah,
and I think we have to kind of like teach that, and we have to also teach ourselves, because it's so easy to be negative, right?
That's right.
And in our line of work as protectors, we work long hours. We often get handed the bad end of the stick.
Yes.
It's always our fault, even though it's never our fault usually.
Right.
And a lot of times you kind of like get blamed for shit we didn't do.
Yes.
So it's so easy to be negative, right? So you have to
Absolutely.
always train a positive mindset, and it takes work, but I think you can do it, and I think most people can do it if they really want to.
Well, in the line of positive thinking and mindset, close protection work, a lot of times, a lot of people think, especially coming into the industry, that it's what they see in the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And the reality is that there's really just a lot of standing and waiting around with your client.
I can tell you, man.
Yeah.
I was doing some stuff yesterday, and I have this whole spiel about how I made a career out of waiting for other people. Right? It's technically what I've done for the past 30 years is waiting around, and if you could kind of like divide out all the time I've sat in airports or stood outside doors waiting for people, it would be years, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, I look at it like, yeah, I was waiting around, but I've also seen history develop kind of in front of my own eyes, right?
Right.
I was there when they did this. I was there when they did that. I mean, other people sit and watch TV and they'll go, oh, that's the Kremlin.
Yeah.
I go, I know. I've been there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or something like that, right? So it's, yeah, I mean, it's the industry, right? And
what advice would you give to somebody who is in an environment that it's going to be one of those days where you're just going to be standing and it seems like you can just see the paint drying on the wall? what would you tell those people? What advice would you give them from a mindset perspective to help them navigate through the shift, but still being alert because something could very well happen?
Well, you have to be alert, right?
Yes.
And the alertness factor, it's one of those things where you kind of like have to figure out how does it work for you keeping your alertness. Mm-hmm. Do we have to be two men standing outside the door in kind of like the stiff position, or can we kind of like lean up against the wall a little bit if we look in each way? Is there a couch where one of us can go and sit down and maybe have a surveillance position where you can see if somebody's coming?
That's right.
How can you do those things, right? And it's a lot of times you have to allow yourself to figure out what's your threshold, right? Mm-hmm. Because I don't necessarily believe standing in straight like this with your back straight for 18 hours make you more alert,
right,
than the guys who can kind of like calm down a little bit and take it in and realize what it is that we do, right?
That's right. Pace the day.
Exactly.
If there's, just as a closing question, if there's one thing that you can look in the industry to say, I would like to see this change to make it better, what would that be?
Wow, that's a good question. I think what a lot of people need to realize that is that when I started 25, 30 years ago, you were a protector and it was a total lifestyle and it was a life choice.
Right.
And it has been for me and it has been for a lot of other people. And that's great. People are free to feel that and free to live that life. But EP has become so big that there's a lot of people who work here. But you got to give room for that as well, right? And the companies needs to understand that when we move into something that's a job, we need to create good jobs, but we cannot expect everybody now that there are thousands of EP agents that all of them choose it as a lifestyle, right? And there's nothing wrong with not being dedicated as a lifestyle and have jobs on this, or not jobs, but interests on the side.
Yes.
We cannot all be equally dedicated, right? And a lot of times people also have to. In the old days, it was a bad word to say work-life balance.
Yes.
But the way that things are today, you need work-life balance, and both the clients, the companies, but also the agents needs to embrace stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
I
good,
think that's a very important thing.
That's good, and that actually is changing. I mean, COVID seems to do a lot of things right now, and it seems to kind of use that as a big focal point.
I know. The only thing that's bad about COVID, in kind of a funny way, that it's over, right? Because we have to go back to work.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Christian, I want to thank you, man, for not only presenting today, but also hosting and being behind the scenes and just basically putting something like this together.
It's a ton of fun, man.
It's a great experience, and we can't wait for the EP Forum #2.
Yeah, I mean, it's really funny because we already started talking about what can we do better and stuff like that. So I guess EP Forum #2 probably will come.
Yeah.
It was kind of an experiment, and it was an experiment that went really well.
Yeah, that's good,
and let's see how it takes us from here. And I love that you praise me for being part of this, but I mean, remember there's Byron, there's Pablo.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a bunch of other people helping out. If I were to do it all myself, we wouldn't go anywhere.
There's rumors that it's coming to Toronto next year.
There is? No. I haven't heard those, but I mean, I heard some rumors that I heard some rumors that we were going somewhere tropical and warm.
Yeah,
but
there
I
you
mean,
go.
Maybe,
That'd be nice.
Maybe that was just rumors.
Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you,
Appreciate
buddy.
your time, Christian.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.